Welcome to the Wellness Pulse with Monica Stevens. From CPR to self care, staying in rhythm with your well being. Thanks for tuning in. All right. Good day, everyone. I've got a whole gang of folks here on the Wellness Pulse this evening. I've got Miss Mariana Hodgins. I've got Trevor Hodgins. I've got Laura Machnik and JJ Machnik. We're all here today because we want to make sure that we are highlighting the importance of learning CPR and first aid, right, guys?
Yes.
Okay. My name's Trevor Hodgins. I'm 15, about to turn 16 in a few days, and I'm from Howell, New Jersey. I wrestle, and I mean, I hang out with my friends a lot. I'm pretty active, I would say. That's really it.
And that's what it should be. I love that, Trevor. I love it. Okay, JJ, you're up next.
All right, I'm JJ Machnik. I'm 19 years old. I survived cardiac arrest. Pretty crazy. Yeah. And right now I'm trying to become an electrician, an aspiring
Hello,
electrician.
Miss Laura. I am JJ's mom, and I'm just a mom doing my thing with my two kids, and that's about it. And
Just Marlena. I am Trevor's mom. We also have two other children. So Trevor has an older brother, Tanner, who wrestled with JJ for all their lives. And then we have a younger daughter, Taryn, who's at diving practice right now. I'm sitting outside of. And my husband, their father is a trooper, which is where they all learned CPR. He's been a trooper for 21 years. And we've been friends with the Machniks for a long, long time through wrestling. And, they're like family.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I did know that you guys go back a little bit, like a few decades.
Yeah, along with a lot of it, yeah.
So I think that is awesome. That you guys already had an appreciation for CPR with your father, uncle being, a trooper. I mean, I know he may not really be your uncle, but it's kind of like that because you guys have been hanging out for a long time and growing up together. So now I feel like you guys may have already, even without knowing about any conditions, I felt like you guys probably might have already known CPR or, valued learning it kind of at a young age.
So, the kids didn't learn it until more recently. My husband being a trooper and an EMT, we've, kind of always been in and around just, being medically aware, so to speak. But, Laura can speak to the situation when everybody learned about JJ's condition and kind of what happened from there. And all the stars just sort of aligned for this to work.
Yeah. Really.
his father found out he had hypertrophic cardiomyopathy with obstruction. And then I had to get the kids tested, and that was 2019. So when I did, everybody was fine. I took them to the cardiologist, everybody was cleared. And it wasn't until 2 years later that I took the kids for their physicals. JJ needed a sports clearance. And our pediatrician, who we've been with since they were born, said, this was when he was 14. And she says, just so you know, I do EKGs at 14. And I said, okay, why are you giving Charlie one? Because she was 12. And she said, well, I'm not clearing JJ for sports, so I have to do her EKG. He needs to go to a cardiologist. And that's where we went to the cardiologist. They sent us to CHOP. And then from there, it was, they weren't clearing him. He definitely had HCM. And, it was a whole summer of, he can't run, he can't ride his bike, he can't, it's like, how do you tell your ridiculously active child that he can't do anything? So I researched for months doctors, and our cardiologist happened to come from Lehigh Valley University to Morristown, and he's certified in sports. He's certified in sports cardiology and in HCM. So we went to him, and that's where our story began, because he cleared him. They did tests. We had pulmonologist tests. We had echoes, EKG, stress tests, you name it. He had everything. And no matter what, there was always a risk. So we knew that, but when you trust your doctor, you feel better about it.
Yeah.
And that was a big part of that.
Definitely, because I mean, with JJ being so active, I could imagine how difficult that was. Well, I can't imagine, but I can understand how, you know what I mean, and they're young, active boys now, so I can only imagine and growing up that being like a, like a bonding, a family tradition, and then
Yeah.
like, hey, you can't do this, you can't ride your bike. That was
Yeah.
quite an upset.
Especially him. I used to pray. I'm like, can you please play a video game for 20 minutes? And he was not that child. He always had to be outside, always on his bike, doing wheelies, doing this, getting skateboards. He just was not a child to say he can't do anything. So it was definitely a challenge that summer.
It went from like the summer. I had just moved into like our neighborhood that I lived in, and I was riding with all riding around my bike with all my friends, and I couldn't even do it anymore. Like they wouldn't let me. The doctor said I couldn't, so it was like, I don't know, I was in like despair. Like it was really I was heartbroken, yeah, and it was just a lot, and I couldn't wrestle, which is where I had a lot of my friends, and play baseball too. And then yeah, so it was just it was really weird, I wasn't used to it because I I had always done sports and interacted with my friends in some sort of way like that, and so when they tell me I can't like anymore, I kind of didn't really have much. That's all. Yeah, and then yeah, we met Dr. Martinez, and he was like he's the man. Like really, he's a really great guy. And I don't know. Ever since I first met him, I always kind of felt like I felt safe with him. Like like he's like a bigger guy, but he's like real nice. Like he's like gentle. Like he's just the way he speaks is very like he's very smart and like
Honest.
knowledgeable. Yeah, he's honest too. He very honest. He literally told me, he was like, listen, like you could die. Like he said that to me. Like, but he has to. Like, and it's scary, of course. And it's like just one of those things. But he was honest about it, and he was like, listen, like you have a heart condition. Like it's a very small chance, but it's still a chance. Like it's anything could happen. This world is crazy. Like and taking that like kind of that's kind of how he played it, like with my condition. He said like like you're at risk, like you have to have a defibrillator, like like what that's when this is like what 2019, 2020, like right before COVID.
20.
Oh wait.
That was 19. And then in 20, we got the defibrillator.
So right before COVID, like everything shut down obviously, but so yeah, like the end of 2019 and then 2020. um he said like, okay, you can participate in everything, but whatever you do, no matter what you do, if you are physically active, you have to have a defibrillator with you because you're at risk of your heart stopping. So we bought a defibrillator. I don't have it obviously with me now because I have it in my chest, but um I brought it literally everywhere. I mean, every physical place. I mean, it was pretty much there. If like I didn't bring it to school, right? Because the schools have them, so that was good. But if there was a place I didn't, like let's say, I mean
Vacation,
most of the places that I went to did have them too. But
vacation you took it on.
yeah.
And
So
we advocated. We told everybody we
yes,
knew
yes. Yes, that was
that
also
he
big
had
too.
this condition. It was not a secret. Everybody that was around JJ or knew JJ knew.
Yes. So that and but then so yeah, so that was in 2020. And then COVID happened, right? So then like a couple years went by, and we're still like, I mean, still bringing the defibrillator with me, like going to the doctors on the regular, like, and he's telling me the same thing, like, oh, like when I was in 2020, like 2019, I was in like seventh grade. I was also younger, so like he said, like as you mature, like your heart's gonna grow. It's like a muscle, so it's gonna get thicker. Like it's a possibility it gets thicker. So my heart got like a little bit thicker, like not much, but like just very little bit thicker over the years, and then
You had scarring.
oh, yeah, whatever, scarring,
Scarring.
thickness, same thing. And then Yeah, I would do my regular checkups, and he would just say the same thing, like, you're clear, you're good to go. Just bring the defibrillator. Like, make sure that nothing, like, he would always ask me, like, has anything, like, have you felt any weirdness? Like, do you feel like dizziness at all? Like, are you getting shortness of breath? And like sometimes I would, and like that would happen. Like, it still happens. It's just like a side effect, I guess, from having the like hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, whatever. And so because of that, he was like, all right, like, you have to be careful, like, take deep breaths when that happens, like, relax yourself. So, but I was still clear, like, it was never an issue. And then, 2024 in May 10th, I was going to their house, and um, the last thing, this is how I mean, I could tell you the whole story now because I've heard it a bunch of times, but like, from what I remember, I walked up and I was walking up and I dropped my phone right before I walked in, and I walked in, and that's all I could tell you, really. And then I went downstairs and got on the treadmill, but I don't even like remember any of that. So they Marlena, Trevor, I guess.
A little bit, because I guess I'm probably the next step
Yeah.
before I picture. But I will just say, in terms of when he was diagnosed, years before, as Laura mentioned, that they advocated, everybody in our wrestling community knew. She mentioned they got a defibrillator. Our youth wrestling club that JJ was part of at the time also bought a defibrillator to bring, because we had away matches. All schools are supposed to have them, but Rob
Just in
Morello was the
case.
coach at the time. He didn't want to take the chance that the schools had them or that we would be able to get to them. So the club bought a defibrillator to bring with us. I was on the board, so we had to carry it with us to all of the away matches as well. So, as Laura mentioned, everybody knew what was going on, with JJ. God forbid something happened when he was, in our presence. And fortunately or unfortunately, we happened to be the ones that were in the presence when it happened. But as JJ mentioned, both our boys wrestle. So he wrestled with my older son, Tanner, and Trevor, who's on with us now. And our house, we have a wrestling mat, we have treadmills, we have a sauna, we have just all kinds of things for the kids to work out with and, get in shape and get ready for wrestling tournaments. So we're kind of the house where people come to do that. And JJ and his friend Gio came over that morning because they had to lose a couple pounds for a wrestling tournament they were going to that weekend. And they came in, the door's always open for the kids. So they came in, said hello. They got on the scale, they weighed themselves. JJ was still a few pounds over, so he said he was going to suit up, get his, sweatshirt on and sweatpants and go down to the treadmill and, use the treadmill. So I told him, all right, you guys know the rules. Like, just make sure you're watching each other, be careful. Like, our house is your house. So, do what you're doing. So I go upstairs, I'm in the kitchen. JJ and Gio go downstairs. Trevor's sleeping. It's, early in the morning. It's like 7:20 something maybe at the time. Laura knows the exact time, but, and JJ must have started to get on the treadmill, because then all of a sudden I hear like a very loud thump and Gio yelling JJ's name. So all I hear is Gio yell JJ. And immediately I knew that JJ collapsed. And because he had a heart condition, I grabbed the phone. I'm calling 911 as I'm running down the stairs to see what happens. I get down there. I hear this awful noise of JJ still trying to breathe at the time. And then my daughter, who was up with me, runs upstairs and wakes up Trevor. He comes running down. And at that point, I think JJ, had passed out. And Trevor runs in and looks at Gio and he's like, we got to move him. We got to get him off the treadmill, and Trevor can take over at that point. But I'm on the phone with 911 at the time. They're asking me all kinds of questions. Is he breathing? What's he doing? And then, when Trevor comes down, he takes over.
Like my mom said, I was actually sleeping when I knew the day before JJ and Gio were gonna come over and they had to lose weight. So I was sleeping and my sister comes running in my room all freaked out. She like wakes me up. She's like, Trevor, Trevor, Trevor. She's like, JJ just passed out downstairs. And I was like, and she says that as I'm waking up. I'm like, what? I was like, what's going on? And so she's like, JJ passed out downstairs. So immediately I just ran downstairs. I ran into the basement. I went over to the workout room where the treadmill and everything is. And I see Gio over by JJ. JJ's laying on the ground next to the treadmill, and it's in between. It's like a tight space of like the treadmill, and then there's like a like a dresser almost next to it, and he's like in between. So it's like a tight space. So I said to Gio, we should try and move him out. So we try and move him out, and he's still breathing, kind of. He's like making like weird breathing noises, but he's still breathing. And so we're trying to move him out and we get him out a little bit. And then he stops breathing completely. So then I jump over him I was actually on the treadmill, like both my knees on the treadmill, and I started CPR. I started chest compressions, and I did 30 chest compressions. And then I told Gio gave him mouth to mouth. And I did another 30 chest compressions, and Gio gave him mouth to mouth. And then after I did 60, the first responder came down and took over, and he had a portable AED and hooked that up, CPR, and then the second and the third, and then they like escorted me out upstairs.
And so while Trevor's down there and I hang up with 911 because I was frantically yelling at Trevor from upstairs in a panic because they kept asking me, is he breathing? And I kept yelling to Trevor, is he breathing? And finally, when Trevor said no, I told him no. And then, I could tell the emergency set in for them to deploy everybody. So once I hung up with 911, I called Laura, and not really sure what I said. I don't really remember, but I think Laura does.
It was, you have to get to my house as fast as you can. JJ passed out on the treadmill. And then I was like, does he have a pulse? And she's like, yes, but I'm like, is he breathing? Because you don't expect this call. And then she goes, just get here as fast as you can. And I did. I did. Yeah. So
Wow.
it was definitely, and then I walked in, and I guess they had told Marlena not to let me downstairs, but she goes, just go right downstairs. And she wouldn't even make eye contact with me because
there was no stopping her from going down to her son, because you
right.
wouldn't be able to stop him either. So I told the police officers, she's coming downstairs. So,
And I just, Trevor greeted me, Gio greeted me, Taryn greeted me, Anita was there, like everybody just, and the faces, like I knew it was the real deal. Like I knew this was it. And I went downstairs, and they said, you don't go over there. And I said, no, I have to. And then I did. And then I just turned around, because you just don't expect to see your child like that. So I said, it's not drugs. It is not drugs. And they said, we know. Marlena told us that he has a heart condition. And, you see an 18-year-old somewhere, you think, oh, they're probably doing drugs. I'm like, it is not drugs. This is an actual, this is a heart condition. So that was that. And then off to Central State he went, and that was it. Then it was getting him stable, which they couldn't do for a while. The doctor actually came in and told us at one point, he coded twice on the way there. Then the doctor came in and said, we've done all we can. I've tried everything I could do. His heart is working against us. And then he walked out of the room because, he was going back to work on JJ. And then we just were standing there thinking, what does that mean? And then 10 or 15 minutes later, he came back and said, I feel more confident. His heart rate is steady. We're going to get him ready. We've already called your doctor in Morristown. They have a bed ready. We're going to prep him, and we got to pack him with ice, and we're going to get him ready to go. And he's going to go to Morristown. And then that's where that story went. The CPR was, and even the doctors at Morristown told us over and over again, if Trevor did not do CPR, that child would not be here. And if it wasn't for him, our story would have ended completely different. Completely different. He had a fighting chance with the CPR. And he came, and every nurse in Morristown said they could not believe how fast he recovered. And you know, when you have cardiac arrest, it could be days, it could be weeks before you even come to. And he was up, and we just watched him come right back to normal after a couple days. It was a little crazy for a couple days. um I honestly thought he had some sort of disability at one point, just maybe lack of oxygen. We didn't know. But then by the third day, he was mad at me for just looking at him wrong. He was back to normal. Here he is. No, true. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
being honest. Like, and
Yeah.
I even said, if this is this is how he is, we'll take it. He's moving. He can walk. He's functioning. If there was a little bit of lack of oxygen in his brain, I'll take it. I will take it. But then that couple days after, he was right back to, when are we going home? Can I go home? And I'm thinking, this is crazy. This is like, I can't, to sit here and think of what I watched unfold. Like, he was on the ECMO end of life machine. You know, they medically put him in a medically induced coma for 48 hours. Then he was on an ECMO machine. His heart wasn't working. That Mother's Day night, the ECMO, they told me he might be on the heart transplant list. If his heart doesn't start working, they're going to put a pump in his arm. But that'll put him, the good news was that that'll put him on the top of the transplant list. I don't want him on the transplant list. I want his heart to work. That is not on my table. We wake up the next day, and in total JJ style, his heart decided to work. He's working. Everything's working. ECMO's coming off. It was just, I mean, I would call Marlena from the bathroom where nobody could hear me, and just updating her and crying and laughing. And it was like every update was either in the garbage or it was like we were celebrating. It was insane. And all of this is because of Trevor and Marlena and Giovanni. We get to do all of the ups and downs because of them. And CPR.
Well, definitely, but I mean, just CPR itself, somebody's got to do it. So let's
Yeah.
let's backtrack a little bit to Mr. Trevor here, um, who's almost 16. Trevor, so how did you come to be the CPR coach? How did you become to be the one who knew to jump into action?
Well, my dad, my dad's one of his very close friends, family friends, Sean Acker, had a accident. He had a blood clot and it got to his heart and he had a heart attack. And he had that. And so after that, my dad made sure all of us knew how to do CPR, and he taught us all. We went all through it, and we all knew how to do it. And that day, my brother was in school. I was homeschooled at the time, and my sister was home. And I mean, I'm not really sure like how I really like became like the one, but I mean, my sister just woke me up, and there was just like there wasn't even like anything going through my brain besides just just running downstairs. There wasn't any hesitation or anything. I don't really know how to explain it, but I literally woke up. I rolled out of bed. I was in my pajamas, and I just sprinted downstairs.
That is so awesome. I mean, being so young, and being just confident. And they say, I think like over 12, and you obviously had the weight and being a young man, so we could move JJ and luckily you had Gio there, your friend who I know he's not here with us today. Gio Scafaldi, is that his last name?
Graffiti.
Scafaldi? Okay.
Yes, defeated.
So now JJ, um, when do you start remembering things like afterwards, like, yeah, I know mom was talking about you kind of coming back to yourself, being ready to get out of the hospital. When did you kind of start?
Like
What's your first memory or
I
recollection?
would say like probably I was in the hospital for my birthday, and I do remember that we had like it was my 19th birthday, yeah, last year. Yeah, I'm not going crazy. And I said I was 19 before. I'm 20. I'm sorry. That was my bad. But it was on my 19th birthday. We were in the hospital, and or yeah, and um Yeah, Marlena and Trevor came in and we had a cake and everything, and that was cool. And then, it like I was on like a bunch of like medication stuff, so it was like kind of like very like hard to really remember much from the hospital. But I'll never forget on my way out of the hospital, when I was walking out, I got a whole standing ovation like from every single like nurse and doctor like on the floor. Like they all like clapped for me on the way out, and they like stood like lined the halls, and that was probably the craziest thing ever. And I felt like in the most weird way, like they were all clapping for me, but I just like it was like I felt selfish because like they are the ones who saved me. But like it's just like I don't know, it's like they're clapping because I made it, but it's like they're the ones who did the work for me. So you know, it's like they should, like I don't know, I don't know, it's just like how I feel.
No, that's valid. I mean,
Yeah, it's like you know what I'm trying to say. Like they all like, and of course I'm grateful for it, and they're all clapping me. But really, like I wish I could do something for them, like and show like my generosity, I guess you could say, for them saving my life, literally.
I think for us sometimes, because sometimes it doesn't go that way. Just speaking as a nurse, I can't speak for your rescue team, but when patients are able to, do something that they weren't doing, or, maybe we thought they weren't going to do anything, it is that sometimes, although you're thanking us, we're thanking you too. Like, you know what I mean? It's good to see. It's
Yeah,
heartwarming, so
yeah,
um that is amazing. Now, Marlena, as another mother, and is this kind of like, one of the boys, like one of your boys, how how are you feeling, like being support for Laura during, all this? And then your son, you know what I mean, is a freaking hero, I'm sure
yeah.
that made you feel like super like proud. And I mean, you guys have family love, so it's not even just proud, but you know, you
Yeah, I
tell me.
mean, as Laura mentioned, it was a roller coaster for those couple days with every time she called, we would joke even like months after, like she's calling me. I'm like, what's the matter? We got to the point where we're texting each other first, like, I'm gonna call, it's okay. Like, so we're not um, you know, too nervous. But so, that whole time was just a roller coaster of trying to be there for support. I'm not gonna lie, the cops came up and told me it was doom and gloom when JJ left, and they did not think he was going to make it, and they asked if I was going to be okay, and it wasn't good. I don't know that it really set in for what Trevor did until we went to see JJ. I can't speak for Trevor in terms of when he, or if he even still realizes what he's done, because it is so amazing. But I think, Laura had JJ call us that day that he woke up, and my husband and I were in the car together, and we got his phone call, and then being able to go see him on his birthday, really just hit home for us as to what happened. And, I'll probably cry because
Yeah. No, it's okay. It's bringing a tear to my eye too.
I mean, he was 14, and I don't know how he did it because I was a fucking wreck.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a lunatic on the phone with 911. I'm not gonna lie. So, how he had the courage and the wherewithal to be able to do it, it was amazing. It really was. So it's I can't really explain the feeling, but it's a good one.
Yeah,
Right. I mean,
definitely
I
the
don't.
best one. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it is such a. I mean, it's teary, and I wasn't there. Like, I mean, just I'm so thankful that you guys were able to interview with me. And Trevor, tell us, how do you feel about all this fanfare and all these weeping people? You know what I mean? And you're just a cool
Hmm.
teenager about to be 16.
Yeah.
But you seem really down to earth about it. I mean, about in general. But tell us, how does how does all this make you feel?
Um, I mean, good. I mean, I'm grateful that I was there at the time that I was, and that I could do something to help save a friend. And yeah, I'm just really grateful that I could help. And obviously, it's a good feeling that everyone thinks that I did good. And
did good.
Yeah.
I don't even think you thought about it. I think you just knew and did it.
Well, so the funny story is, and Trevor's phone might die just in case we lose him. He's only on 3%.
Yeah,
But
I'm on 3%.
he slept over his friend's house that night, and all I wanted to do was
All right.
hold him and cuddle him and snuggle with him. But I said, he's a 14-year-old kid. Like, I'm gonna let him go be 14, and it wasn't really phasing him. Like, he just saved JJ's
Crazy.
life, and he's had a sleepover.
Yeah, I
Casual,
slept over at Brady's
casual
house.
Friday.
Yeah, exactly. It was just a regular Friday in May for Trev.
I mean, Trevor is like a superhero. That's what they do. They save lives and keep
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah, that's right.
So, that's what he had to do. So, all right. Well, I don't want you to be stranded at the mall, Trevor, or anything, but so do you have like somebody probably has a charger or something that they might be able to let you get a little juice?
Yeah, I could maybe find someone.
I mean, not right second. We'll probably be done before you got an iPhone?
Yeah, I'm on 2%.
Oh man, okay, it's the video. Well, okay, so I was just
Maybe I
gonna
should turn my
say,
camera off.
okay, we missed the dimples. Um, well, wow. So JJ, I gotta ask you, knowing now what you know now, what you all have been through, and I'm not really leading you, but I'm curious, would you do it all over again, like the wrestling, continuing to live and do the things that you love to do, knowing that, the sudden cardiac arrest, knowing like having actually gone through
Yeah,
it now. No,
yeah,
there was always a risk.
right, right. I get what you're saying. So like yes, I would say yes, but like again, like I feel selfish almost, like because if something happens to me while I'm wrestling, it's like my life becomes then my coaches or the paramedics or the people there, like so like if I knew that at some point in my wrestling career I was going to have another like heart like attack, I guess you could say, or my heart would stop, I would say no, of course, because I don't want that to happen ever again, and I don't want to have my life put in someone else's hands, because God forbid it doesn't work out like it did and I don't make it. It's like the person who didn't save me has to live with that, and that's absolutely horrible, and I would never wish that on anyone. So that being said, I think that I wouldn't, but I do love wrestling a lot, and I really miss it. And it just sucks. If you have a heart condition, it's really a 50-50. Like it's a gamble. You don't really want to gamble your life. So
Yeah, you don't,
yeah.
but some might argue about the quality of life, and it's obviously
Right, right.
something that the family
Yes, and
loves.
I agree. Okay, so yeah, so I guess I just feel selfish, but I do agree for the quality of my life, I would pursue wrestling, even with the condition, because I think that it is a great sport, and I at one point my life was built around it.
Right.
Maybe you
How is it?
done it a little differently as far as conditioning.
No, I mean I don't think so.
No.
Okay, but I mean, but in hindsight, that's what mom says. Mom says maybe we could have conditioned a little differently. And I mean, maybe I'm remiss in saying this, but I feel like because it's something you all loved, I think you all kind of were aware of the risk and felt like we got it. I mean, won't say we got it under control because you can't prepare for anything like
Yeah,
that. But I think you guys took some steps to make the
yeah,
best of
to
the situation
advocate
with the risk.
and like be prepared, I guess you can say.
Right. So would
Yeah.
you all do it again? Everybody else who's on the team?
I mean,
uh, right, your mothers. I get it. Like, I don't know. I
I
wanted them to play a video game.
and do my part.
You said
So
what?
my part was I'm not going to take it something away that he loves if I know that I have a doctor that we can trust. And we advocated. I mean, I'm I feel bad. Like I hate that it happened at Marlena's, but again, it couldn't have been anywhere else. So yes, I would have done it again. I maybe would have, you know, hounded him maybe 18 more times a day than the already 20 about being hydrated and everything else, because that's all I could do for all those years. So,
But he's a teenage boy and wouldn't have
yeah,
listened anyway. So
he wouldn't listen anyway, but I'll just say it and he'll get mad and that's it. The day goes on.
I love this. So now, how has it been like mental health wise, like the recovery and stuff? It sounds like you, I mean, from what you've shared with me, it sounds like you guys have some good support. And I laughed at the, it's okay, I'm gonna call, but everything's okay. Because you need that. Sometimes you need that laugh to keep from crying. But I know JJ, you've had to probably restructure, find some things that you were interested in, and
Yeah.
um, you're a young guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how
Um,
has that been for you guys?
for me, it's been definitely different, I was gonna go to college to wrestle, of course, and then obviously I can't do that anymore. So I didn't even go to college. I chose to work instead. So now I'm trying to pursue a job as an electrician. So that's what I do during the day. And at night, I don't really do much. I shoot pool. I play pool a lot, like the game, but I'm not very good. But I like to play it. So um, that's that. And then um, it's it. I'm still working out. I can work out. I have to be careful and cautious. I have the defibrillator in my chest right here. But as far as that goes, it's still pretty much the same stuff. Like I said, I just have to be careful and yeah, I've been perfectly healthy. I went to the doctor about 3 or 4 times since everything has happened, and yeah, they said I've been like 100%, like as good as I can be for real. So I'm super grateful, definitely. Yeah.
Me too. This has been an amazing, amazing story that you guys have shared with me. So let me, it goes kind of without saying, but for our viewers who perhaps don't know CPR or first aid, what message or what would you like to impress upon them? Either
Uh,
anybody, whoever.
uh, I mean, yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to learn it. Like, if you take, I mean, you have to go to classes and get certified, but if you do go and get certified, like you're not like losing anything by doing that. You can only gain and help people by doing that. So, I mean, that's upon the person to do it, but I think everyone should take action and do it.
Yeah, you'd never know when you're going to save somebody's life or when somebody needs you.
yeah, you're never too young, you're never too old to learn it. So I think everybody should know how to do it.
And even if
Walgreens and get Narcan, but you can't go to Walgreens to get CPR certified. So
you sure can.
it's a lot of those things. Like, I think there's so many kids out there that you read all over that are dropping on the field, or because they didn't even know they had a heart condition, because it doesn't have to be every generation. It's like it could be your great grandfather or great great grandfather, but you have it, so the people don't know. So it is this, especially, I mean, this is, you could drive on the road, you see people on the side of the road all the time, accidents. If they had help, maybe things would be different. It's people, it happens anywhere, obviously. I
And
mean,
the CPR part too, it's the advocating for patients getting screened. Like Laura said, her pediatrician at 14 did it automatically. I know I had to ask at my kid's well visit. I was like, can we get an EKG here? Like they need a sports physical. So, just making sure your providers and your doctors know, and they're screening your kids at whatever the age, I guess is 14 is
14.
the guidelines, right? So make sure your kids at 14 are getting screened.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as versed on the sport, on the laws of what you need the physicals to consist of, but definitely I think it's great that they are starting to do the screenings. I think some of that is, with some of the catastrophes that we've had with sudden cardiac arrest in the youth, I think people are starting to realize that, and the mental health.
Mm-hmm.
They're also starting to do like mental health screenings around like the same time. So I think all of that is great for, just building the knowledge. But I definitely, you know what I mean? Definitely knowing the CPR, I think is awesome because we have um stories like this that, there's still, I get there's adjustments and recovery, but like you said, hey, a little I'll take my boy. I'll take my boy. And but the CPR, it's great testament, and just I would just want people to learn it, even if it's not a class. Be comfortable to act, you know what I mean? Be comfortable to recognize that somebody needs help, and at least make that call to 911. Let them tell you what to do. Do something, do something. So does anybody have anything else they'd like to add?
I think we really touched on everything, to be honest.
Thank you, JJ. I appreciate that. I like to do a thorough interview.
Yeah, no, it was good though. Definitely, we got all. I haven't really heard Trevor's perspective really like that in detail, and it's sad to hear, of course, but I never heard it, so that was my first time like hearing it from himself.
Um, you're such a precious gift, JJ, to be sitting here telling me the story and to be able to share this with you guys. Um, I'm glad I was, I'm glad you were able to hear that from him through this, because
Yeah, definitely.
for me on the outside, it's just like, wow, this is why I do what I do, so I can hear these stories.
Like,
And then
no,
the
that is,
journal.
it's amazing what you do because people need to do that.